Ideating is an important step in the design process. We can quickly and efficiently generate ideas to help us select the best path forward for our project. Today I'll be ideating on a mug, changing its form and proportions to find a design that I like, but in a real-world scenario, ideation sketches are an integral step to showing your client a variety of options and including them and their input early on in the design process. So here, the way that I like to think about ideating is using a sort of mental model that is sort of popularized by Spencer Nugent, where first we will define a form, then we will begin to divide the form, and lastly, he calls the third step beautifying. So really this is just a framework for how to sketch and a method for kind of sneaking up on the detail in your sketch. First by defining the general kind of form or proportions, then dividing it in several sort of manners so that you're kind of getting a different shape, and then using those different shapes and adding textures or shading and other sort of things to sort of define the sketch a little bit further. So this is kind of what I'll kind of be using today when sketching. Today I'll be sketching with the Papermate Flare on the Canson marker paper, because I will be adding a little bit of marker just to kind of add some visual hierarchy to the page as well. So to get started, I think I want to kind of just let it kind of flow, but I want to have a page layout that looks nice in the end as well, so I'll just kind of keep that in the back of my mind. So we can kind of start with, I always like starting with some thumbnails where we can quickly define the sort of exterior shape of our mugs and maybe kind of drop in the different kind of handles. This one has like a nice kind of sweeping kind of curve to it. And maybe blend those kind of edges off there. So we can have like a little thumbnail there and accompany that with a little perspective sketch as well. Just trying to keep it light. Ideating is all about kind of generating those ideas, so don't really worry too much about the sort of scale and perspective. They can all kind of be touched up later. Here's a nice large handle. But it's always nice to kind of change up the form factor. So what if we kind of did sort of an inverse of what that mug kind of looks like? There we go. Maybe we'll do a third one over here as well. Maybe I'll put the sort of thumbnail on this side. Actually, let's go thumbnail. So the idea here is really just to get as many ideas as you can down on a page. Here I think I can fit 3 quite nicely. And they should be quick. So drawing large and drawing kind of quickly. It's probably to our benefit here. So we have a layout, you know, a couple different groupings of different styles of mugs here. But right now there isn't really much of a flow to the page. It's a little bit similar all over. So what we can do here is kind of define it a bit better by grouping them with vignettes. That's a nice way of sort of getting down a bunch of ideas, trying to sort of sketch them out, draw them out, and then starting to group them with a vignette. So I think I'll kind of go through the different handles there on that one. Yeah, maybe we can have like a smaller, I have room for another sketch. Maybe we do like a, maybe like a smaller kind of version of something here. Maybe the like espresso cup, you know, that's like the big mug. Here's the espresso cup version. Something interesting, something neat. And since we have, you know, that kind of square proportion up here and a rectangular kind of proportion here, we can do like a nice long one to connect these guys together. There we go. So we have some interesting forms kind of going on. We have some interesting ideas. And they're all kind of drawn to the same sort of fidelity and same sort of roughness. What we can do is to start defining the ones that we want to maybe go forward with. We can really what we've done is just kind of create some forms and divided them in certain ways. We haven't really done much of the beautifying. And the way that we can kind of establish, you know, several different layers to the sketch here is by adding selective amounts of marker on the different collections of pages or collections of sketches, and that'll help us define, you know, our idea, maybe the one that we selected. I sort of like what's going on the bottom here, so maybe we can kind of define that a bit better. So what we'll do here is maybe grab like a, we gotta have to kind of think about maybe the glazes here. So what if we kind of had this sort of, maybe it was kind of an unglazed body. Maybe it's just the top rim that is going to be sort of this colorful glaze. So I'll try to divide that across. Maybe that's where we can lay down some color. So here, let's say we're kind of using a nice blue. It's always nice to outline the shape that you want to have colored, rendered rather, and start adding in some color there as well. So I'm leaving that white space there to kind of define the top edge, how it's kind of catching the light. It's sort of you know, drawn in this kind of shiny, glossy kind of color. And maybe I want to add some, maybe this is like a nice red kind of brown clay body, so I can add that in as the rest of the sketch here. That's probably fine. Maybe it, you know, this is kind of raw clay, so maybe we can add some dots here to kind of add the idea of it being a little bit more textured. And it's kind of shadowy there underneath it. Very cool. So here we have, you know, two different colors, defining that it's already drawing our eyes here. You know, we can come back and add more line weight to it, but we can add, you know, some color maybe to indicate what these might look like, and that can, you know, that can kind of be defining, you know, maybe which one of these two is most important. It's always nice to have a hierarchy of three and everything. So what we can do here is maybe just add in, maybe just kind of outline a little bit here, or add in some of this nice light blue on this mug. And these are ideation sketches, right? So they're supposed to be quick. They're not supposed to take too much time. Really, we just want to indicate what colors you might be using, or generally like what it might kind of look like, how it might function. Here we're looking at kind of exploring decorative sort of coloring. We're exploring some form. Being quite expressive with our marker, always fun. So we have this, you know, nice light blue mug over there. We have this sort of top glazed, you know, mug that maybe we want to develop a bit more down at the bottom. And up here, maybe what we want to do is just add in, you know, just some normal kind of Copic marker here, just to kind of give it some definition. Just the kind of shadowy sides, or the inside of the mug. There, that's nice. And yeah, so this is kind of defining quite nicely. I think what I'll do is just add some line weight to the bottom sketches maybe. And I'm flipping my page here, turning my page here so that I can access it a little bit better. I think I'll just add some line weight to the bottom of these guys. Clean up some of the edges. But I think I'll spend more time on this guy. Since it is, you know, a stronger sort of perspective, it's a little bit more defined. This one is probably the one that, you know, is the most likely candidate for, you know, me to resketch. And maybe if I wanted to design, you know, another page, this is probably the one I would work off of the most, and resketch it again. So just kind of clearing up some of the lines. Here we had some striations there, so we can sort of tidy them up a bit. And another sort of method we've been using as well is just finding some light marker on the vignettes the lighter the better, I think, is nice because you can sort of add a couple more layers to it. I'll use this light purple here. And I think what I'll do is just sort of define the shapes that they have here. Not really fill the whole thing. Just to kind of give more definition to the silhouettes we've been working with and the kind of family of products that we're trying to create here. That's nice. Maybe I'll just pick kind of the shadow side and make this side a little bit darker on all the right sides of the mugs. A little bit darker, that's nice. A nice clear sort of relationship between this family of mugs. Another thing that we can do to strengthen their sort of importance on the page is also by adding notation, or here I can even add some more patterning to establish this sort of relationship that they're sitting on the same plane. So we can say this can kind of be for coffee, and this one could be the espresso. Very nice. So the fact that we've added notation to the set of ideations that we've developed the most also just highlights this sort of page hierarchy, establishing that as the sort of number one thing that you would look at. This one, because it has some color, would be the number two set of sketches you would look at, and then this set of just copy, a C2 on there, it will show the sort of the third level of hierarchy. So having that kind of page readout is super important in your sketching, and you can continue to kind of define. This is sort of one page of many that you can be doing in your exploration of different ideas, and selecting the best ones and kind of continuing to move through the different types of drawing and the design process to arrive at your final project or your final product.